Good morning, and welcome to the Voice of Charity. I'm Katie Breedeman, and we extend a warm hello to all who are listening on WNDZ 750 AM here in Chicago, and all who are watching our live stream on YouTube and Facebook at Catholic Chicago. Last week, we were delighted to have with us Kathy Herrera, Catholic Charities Program Director of our Pregnancy, Adoption, and Post-Adoption Services area, along with Lisa Francis, a post-adoption specialist. Kathy and Lisa described the ways they are assisting clients this summer, and they gave us a preview of the 2022 St. Vincent's Orphanage Reunion, which is coming up on September 18th. This wonderful annual event gathers everyone involved in this life-affirming agency that operated out of Catholic Charities headquarters for 91 years until 1972. We talked about the ways that our Post-Adoption Services Department continues to receive calls and emails from people all over the country who were adopted by Catholic Charities through these years. We offer support, registry information, and search and reunion services for those looking to reconnect with their biological relatives, or at least learn more information for personal and or medical reasons. With us today is one of the most distinguished Catholic Charities adoptees that we have ever had the great pleasure to meet. The Honorable Joseph K. Wood is the elected county judge of Washington County, Arkansas. In his role, he acts as Chief Executive Officer over all aspects of the county government. Judge Wood has a great deal of experience in public service and in the private sector. He's a devoted husband, father, and grandfather, and in recent years, he's become the author of 2 children's books in which he describes his experiences being adopted from St. Vincent's Orphanage. It is truly an honor to have Judge Wood with us here on the Voice of Charity today, and we welcome the Honorable Joseph K. Wood. Good morning, Your Honor.
Hey, good morning, Miss Katie, and Joey is fine. You can call me Joseph or Joey, that is fine.
Sounds wonderful. So delighted to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking time from your very busy schedule to be here on the Voice of Charity.
Absolutely.
Judge Wood, can we start out by can you tell our audience a little bit about Washington County, Arkansas, and your responsibilities there?
Yes, in the United States, most states have county commissioners. In Illinois, we had county commissioners, and you would probably have 3, 4, 5 of them per county. In some states, about 7, 8, 9 states, they have county judges, which and they're elected, though, by the people. It's only one of them, and they're responsible for the entire county. They're like the governor of the county, the CEO of the county. So we're responsible for all the infrastructure, all the budget dollars that go through that county, the revenues that go in, the expenditures that go out, the public safety, working with the county sheriffs and the county jail, working with roads and bridges, animal shelters, emergency management, crises that happen, pandemics that happen. That's all the responsibility of the county judge. I am the county judge of Washington County, which is probably the second largest county in the state of Arkansas, one of the fastest growing in the country. We have the home of Walmart here, the home of Tyson headquarters here, home of J.B. Hunt here. So when you got the largest retailer, largest food producer, and the largest transportation trucking, it causes for a lot of growth and fast dynamics that happen here in this county. And so it's been my honor to be serving as now 2 terms now as county judge.
And I'm sure that this has been quite a challenging year, just addressing the needs of your constituents during the pandemic, but now emerging from it and seeing, kind of get a state of the nation, right? A state of the county emerging from it.
That is exactly right.
What would you say are the most challenging aspects of your job and the most enjoyable?
Oftentimes I say they're the same thing. The challenge and the joy often are the same thing. The challenge is the tremendous growth and fast pace. And can we as leaders outthink and get ahead of and get around the curve, at the same time maintain the daily operation of what has to happen? A 40-year-old, 30-year-old building, the elevators go out. Okay, we got to work on this elevator right now. But we also got to think about the growth. Do we have enough county facilities for the growth of what's happening in the coming years? So some of our greatest pressures have been the growth. Some of our greatest joys in my mind and in my opinion has been working through the growth. When I get a chance to open up a bridge that's going to connect our county and our citizens around the county, that becomes a powerful thing. But again, it wasn't powerful when it was down or when it was out, when it got washed away with a flood. You had to deal with all the emergency and how to reroute traffic for the next several months before you can get the infrastructure back together and reopen the bridge. So those are some of those pressures.
Well,
some of the challenges, but at the same time, some of the joys.
Blessings as well. And I know that with your very busy schedule, you've been very kind to come back to this St. Vincent's reunion that we've talked about in the last couple of years. I had the great pleasure to meet you for the first time back in 2019 at that event. And you spoke eloquently at the reception. We have a mass, as you know, and then we have a reception following for anybody who's been involved in St. Vincent's Orphanage, whether it's adoptees, adoptive parents, child care technicians, friends, volunteers. And you spoke eloquently at that event, Judge Wood, about your experiences. And I just wonder if you might share with our audience, some of the highlights of your speech and a few of the details of your experience at St. Vincent's.
Wow, you guys found some of that footage. You got me tearing up already.
Sorry about that.
I speak a lot. I speak a lot of engagements and all, and that one had to be one of the most inspiring and powerful times to visit and talk with who I call my brothers and sisters. If they were there before me at St. Vincent's, they're my big brothers and sisters. If they were there after me, they're my younger brothers and sisters, because we all had that in common, that we all spent time in that particular place. It was powerful having the mass and seeing the fountain, the baptismal, where we were all baptized coming into that place. But in sharing with my brothers and sisters, I think one of the pieces I wanted to share, if they take nothing away, was God has a purpose and a plan for us, and that we can only understand and fulfill that if we stay on our journey. We have no idea where these journeys will take us, what paths and roads and what obstacles. And the only thing we do know is if we stay on that journey, two things will happen. There'll be some self-discovery, and then there'll be some people along the way to help us along that journey. Again, to see where I am now, I couldn't have to see with some of those people who were there, some of my brothers and sisters. It's just amazing. And again, the Lord has been with us every step of the way. And so that was my big piece, my big message is if not anything else, stay on your journey. There's tons and tons of help along the way, but there's a self-discovery process that happens if you stay on that journey, because the Lord is with you at every step.
And I'd like to add that anyone who'd like to view Judge Wood's entire speech that day can go to our YouTube channel, Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Chicago, and just type Judge Wood into the search there. And we have uploaded your entire speech there, Your Honor. And I'm sure many of our audience here will be going to find that after today's show. Lisa Francis mentioned that at that last reunion in 2019, you even met one of the child care technicians who remembered assisting you and caring for you as a baby.
Oh, wow. In fact, now I've met two. One called me on the phone maybe a year ago and found me and said, I remember you, I remember. But at that event in 2019, Sister Mary Josephine Talsma, she was a sister. She, in fact, was an actual nun there. She eventually left the convent and got married. And she recalled reading in the newspaper in 2018 or 2017 on the Sunday newspaper about this guy out of Arkansas, this elected official looking for his birth family, and found the guy who found him. I'm a founderling, and I found the guy who found me. And the newspaper, Chicago Tribune, did a huge article on it. She was reading it that Sunday morning and said something to her husband, hey, this is the kid that I named. And he didn't have any idea, because she wasn't married at that time. She was not. Well, 2 years later, she's at the reunion and she hears this guy. She sees this guy. She's like, that's the guy. That's my kid. And she comes up and tells a story that I think the sequence, all nuns got a chance to name the next kid. The most senior nun at the time named the next kid that came in, and it was her turn. And everybody knew that Sister Mary Josephine, the next kid came in. If it was a girl, her name would have been Josephine. If it was a boy, his name would have been Joseph. And I came in, and so she got to name me. And so she said that just warmed her to find and see this kid that she remembers naming. And for me, I never knew where my name came from. So here it is.
That must have been such a powerful experience to meet her and hear that story.
Absolutely, absolutely. We took pictures, and she has since passed away. But man, it was what a great time for me to again just continue to unravel some of my beginnings and my adoption story. And again, everyone from St. Vincent has some of those stories.
And you also gave a beautiful tribute in your remarks, Your Honor, to the Daughters of Charity who ran St. Vincent's Orphanage. Would you speak a little about that?
Wow. That was a small example. What I just shared about Sister Mary Josephine Talsma, each one of them, in fact, while we were there, you can see some of those care technicians, some of those nuns who came back to visit. They had little spoons or little pieces of toys that they kept because they loved these kids. And in fact, it was said that they wanted the very best for these children. They thought that if these kids were going to be adopted, we got to present and have some of the best and present the best kids that we can. But if they don't get adopted, they're going to have a great time, and they're going to have a special time here. And you can see it on their work. It was a call on their lives. And I think that's the piece that today, when I look at our Department of Children and Family Services and DCFS across the country, it's not that we don't have great workers there. We do. But it's so many people. The social care workers have so many kids to take care of that they can't put the heart on it. That the Daughters of Charity and St. Vincent's and those different orphanages, it was a call on their life, and you can see it, you can sense it, you can feel it. You walk around St. Vincent's or Catholic Charities Chicago now, and you see the pictures on the wall. And these are kids who are smiling. They have bright, shiny faces. The essence of that love was being poured out into us. And so I think that gave us a great foundation as we went on into our world and got adopted or whatever you stayed in that system. So
they really were remarkable on how they lovingly cared for every child in such a comprehensive way. And that was a very busy place, as many as 250 children there at one time, right?
Oh, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It talked about the CDC had even one point called and said, hey, we can't find all the cases of diseases that were prevalent in the country. And they said, well, these sisters were so meticulous, they would almost take the shoelaces out of your shoes, soak them in chlorine and bleach and hang them up to dry and then relace your shoe. So very meticulous, very clean, very caring about these kids and their care. And so again, I call it a call, a ministry that they truly did have a call on their lives to take care of us.
Beautifully said, Your Honor. If you'll please bear with us, we're going to take a break here on the Voice of Charity.
Absolutely.
And when we continue, we're going to continue our conversation with the Honorable Joseph K. Wood. Please stay tuned.
Wow.
Ancestry and genealogy are more important every day. People all over the world are wanting to learn more about their family heritage for personal and for health reasons. At Catholic Charities, we are hearing from adults who lived for a brief time at St. Vincent's Orphanage, the wonderful life-affirming agency that operated out of our headquarters for 91 years, serving thousands of women, children, and families until it closed in 1972. Our post-adoption services help adults who want to learn more about their experience at St. Vincent's. Our compassionate staff members provide whatever family background information they can offer, along with support and reunion services. To learn more, call 312-655-7093. That's 312-655-7093. The spirit of St. Vincent's lives on in the inspiring stories that continue to emerge today.
We are at the Most Blessed Trinity Parish Food Pantry in Waukegan.
And here we care for people in need. There was definitely an uptick in the needs for services.
We doubled our volume after COVID hit, from servicing about 250 families a week to about 500 a week. We supply bread, tortillas, vegetables, milk, cheese, butter, proteins, fish, chicken, eggs.
Well, the annual Catholic Appeal has been a tremendous help to us, especially over the past year and a half.
Without the annual Catholic Appeal, we might have to close our doors. Our parish is the largest one in the Archdiocese, but is very poor. We think about food and we think about nourishment, but we also nourish the soul, provide that connection to humanity.
The good works here are made possible through the Annual Catholic Appeal. Make your gift at annualcatholicappeal.com.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219. Welcome back to the Voice of Charity. I'm Katie Breedeman, and we're so fortunate today to have with us the distinguished Honorable Joseph K. Wood, County Judge of Washington County, Arkansas. And he was an adoptee at St. Vincent's Orphanage years ago. And now, in addition to being a very dedicated public servant, Judge Wood is also an advocate for adoption and foster care nationwide. Welcome back, Your Honor.
Excellent. Glad to be back with you guys.
Can I ask if, I mentioned at the top of the show that our post-adoption services is still receiving inquiries from people around the country who want to learn more about their ancestry and perhaps connect with their biological relatives. Did you do any of those search? Were you on a journey of that similar nature, Your Honor?
Absolutely. In fact, again, Lisa Francis, who you guys have already interviewed and talked with, and Kathy Herrera, and another young lady who was there. I think she's now retired, but all of them I've interfaced and talked with over the years. And probably in the, mid-early 90s, I started doing they have adoption registries. A lot of adoptees will find about adoption registries, and you fill that out in hopes that those who gave you up for adoption will also fill out the registry, and there'll be a connection. And I never had any success. I mean, I did that probably once in the 80s, once in the 90s, and again, nothing. The laws changed in Illinois about maybe 12, 13 years ago, which said if you were ever adopted in the state of Illinois, you could have your original birth certificate. And I said, wow, if I can get my original birth certificate, I'll know who my birth family is and let them know, hey, whatever happened, I'm okay. And that's what got me connected back to Catholic Charities or St. Vincent's, is that the records were closed for me. They end up saying that I had a foundling birth certificate. I didn't know what that was, and I started doing this research trying to figure out what is a foundling. Found out that you were abandoned, you were actually found. And it's real prevalent in continents of China and India and Africa, where women want to have these kids, but they can't afford them, and they have them and they leave them, and most of them die. Those that are found are called foundlings. And I actually was found in the streets in Chicago as an infant. And the guy who I ended up looking for on that foundling certificate, it stated that you were found on this day. I said, well, this is the day I'm celebrating, it's my birthday. They said, no, that's just the day you were found. And now I'm 46 years old, 45, 46 years old. It surprised me. What are you talking about? That was the day I was found. And it went on to say you were found at this address by this man and taken to the orphanage by this doctor. And I went looking for the doctor who took me into the orphanage, saying, surely you remember something else. And found him. He had died, had passed away in 1999. So I went looking for the guy who found me, and I found him. And in that process, reconnected with Catholic Charities to talk about, because they had a file of my time there at St. Vincent's when I was brought there. They had non-identifying information, but they said, well, you already found the guy who found you. So and the address of the guy. And so anyway, my family and I got to Catholic Charities downtown Chicago, and that was my first time being there. Obviously, since I was taken there and brought in by the doctor in 1965. But what an unbelievable experience. They did share that file with me. Did have everything taken out as far as names and that type of deal, but I already found the guy who found me, and we've had a great relation before he passed away. But that was my research, and what a great help having Catholic Charities has some of the most phenomenal people there, and everybody I've worked with there, the staff and Lisa and those caretakers. Obviously, from the very beginning in 1965 all the way up to 2022, they draw the very best of people in to help those who need help.
That's very kind of you to say, Your Honor. But you're also such a remarkable person yourself. You were adopted from St. Vincent's. You became a teen leader in your neighborhood in Chicago, and then you went on to graduate from Iowa State University with a degree in business administration. You've worked in a number of private sector leadership positions, including as a bank examiner, and then at the University of Chicago Graduate School of Business, before going on to become Deputy Secretary of the state of Arkansas, and now in your current role. Can I ask, how did you first get interested in politics and public service?
I don't know if I got interested in it or I was kind of told you're going to be a part of it. After I was adopted at 10 years old, my mom and dad went through a divorce. And it was real tough. Mom's like, I got to pick up another job, but you have the responsibility of being the oldest. They couldn't have kids, so they thought. And so they adopted me, and then they had 3 kids just like that. I mean, back to back. So, but now that responsibility of being the oldest, you got to take care of your brothers and sisters, make sure they don't get in trouble with the gangs and drugs of Chicago in the streets. And I didn't know what to do. And I started this teen club, as you mentioned, and it grew super fast. And because everybody in that community really wanted a safe place for their children. And the Catholic Church gave me keys to the fellowship hall. And we did a lot of constructive work. We did a lot of things to keep the kids from the elements of out there in the streets. But my mother said, you will always be a part of the communities in which you live because you live there. Now, I was doing it because she told me you take care of your brothers and sisters, but it became part of my habit, part of my fabric to just be involved where I live. School boards, board of election. I did all that in Chicago, and I came to Arkansas and continued to do that. And then the young fellow who said he was running for Secretary of State said, hey, I'm running for Secretary of State. If I win, will you be my deputy secretary? And I thought, you're going to pay me to do this stuff? My mother never told me that you can get paid to do this stuff. I just volunteered and been doing. He said, oh, yeah. And, well, he won. We got sworn in. And 2 weeks later, I got my paycheck. And Miss Katie, I had to go to him. I said, so we really don't get paid, do we? But you don't do the public service for the money. You do it for the labor of love. And I really do it for the people that I serve.
Well, you clearly had tremendous leadership skills from a very early age, and you maximized those. You made the most of those, Your Honor. It's been so inspiring to read more about your life history and what you continue to do, for the people of Washington County and this nation. So thank you for all you do. May I ask, what gave you the idea to create the 2 children's books that you've written? The first is called Saving Joey, and the second is Adopting Joey. And they're just beautifully illustrated, beautifully written. What gave you the idea to be author of those 2 children's books?
My children. I have 3 daughters and I have 3 grandkids. But after finding Caesar Johnson, a Korean soldier who found me, and he was 80 years old, my family got to connect with him, and my daughter's like, Dad, you got to write your story. And I'm like, but I still don't know how I got to the stairs. I don't know how I got to the stairs, how I got to his place. And so how do I write a story if I don't know the beginning? And one morning, 2 a.m, I woke up and I wrote these stories, Saving Joy and Adopting Joy. I call it Joy's Journeys, the series. And Joy is my grandson. He's named after me. They call me Joey growing up as well. But I wanted him to understand that this is how your family tree got started, so to speak. And so that's how I wrote it. And I created what I believe my mother was, a young teen walking through the streets of Chicago crying because she just had this kid that she wanted, but couldn't take care of, and left him in a basket in a book. But in real life, it was actually a box, but it was a blanket, and the guy comes out and he sees and saves his kid. That was a Saving Joy. And then Adopting Joy is the story of my parents who couldn't have kids. She was a teacher, he was a construction worker, and they said, let's go to the orphanage downtown and get a little girl. We can foster a little girl. And they get there, and she said, nope, I want this little boy right here. And so that's that story of adopting Joey.
So beautifully said.
We're working on a memoir, kind of autobiography, because there's so much more that's transpired since then. So just trying to tell the rest of the story, if you will.
Do you have a target date, Your Honor, for when that might be published?
Oh my gosh. I would imagine it'll be sometime next year. That's my fingers crossed. It'll be sometime in 23.
We will be looking out for that book to purchase that when it comes. Before we run out of time, I just want to also mention that in 2017, you were recognized by the Congressional Coalition on Adoption as an Angels in Adoption honoree for raising awareness about orphans and foster children in need of loving homes. Was there a ceremony to acknowledge that award, Your Honor? And what was that experience like?
Well, right before I went there, I had gone to Catholic Charities for one of the reunions. So I was already on the top of the world, and I left Catholic Charities, that reunion, and meeting some of you guys. And then I went on to DC, and there was a special ceremony. Unbelievable. There's a couple of people in every state that gets recognized. And normally it's those who are philanthropists, those who open up orphan homes or things like that. And very few do they often give it to the adoptee, and because of their work and what they've been doing, because that's the rewards of their work, who's putting money in. And so it was a powerful thing. Had a couple of senators to give me those medals, and I continue, and their charges continue to do that work. And so I've been happy to go back and continue to do this work.
Well, we're truly honored to have you here on The Voice of Charity today. I'd like to just share again the title of these two children's books that Judge Wood authored, Saving Joey and Adopting Joey. And you can get both of these books on Amazon or at your local bookstore. We still like to promote those local bookstores. And I also just like to say you're a tremendous example to us, Your Honor, of helping people, inspiring people to believe in the beauty of adoption and foster care and the vital role that strong families play in the development of children. Thank you for all you've done to help keep the legacy of St. Vincent's alive, and I hope to possibly see you on September 18th. Is your schedule allow you to come?
I'm looking forward to being there, and I know you've been doing the work and laying down the tracks, and so I'm looking forward to joining you guys. Thanks again for having me on.
It's our honor to have you here, sir. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And hope you
bless you guys.
Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you on September 18th. And we invite everyone back again next week for another edition of The Voice of Charity. For now, this is Katie Breedeman, and we thank you for tuning in and believing in the mission of Catholic Charities.